Hey guys, I bet you're wondering why I'm wearing this headband. Just got back from a 4th of July party I had with my friends. I thought since I'm not tired, I'd come back and make a video. Didn't really know what to talk about, so I decided that I was going to make a little video about me. So figured I'd tell you some things that some of you guys might not know about me. Grew up on a 1,000-acre farm in Amherst, Virginia. When I was born, my dad was actually still in college, so we moved around quite a bit. It wasn't until I was 7 years old that we actually moved to the farm, which was a pretty great experience for me just because I had a huge farm to live on and explore. It's definitely the reason why I love the outdoors. Something a lot of people already know is that I have two sisters. One of them's 15 months younger than I am, and the other's 9.5 years younger than I am. So there was a pretty big age gap between us, but we were definitely extremely close. We did pretty much everything together just because we did live in the middle of nowhere, so we kind of had to learn to be each other's best friends. One thing that we used to do when we were little was build forts in the hay barns. We would actually dig little holes through the bales of hay and create little forts on the inside. That was really fun until one day we pushed ourselves into our fort and actually found a huge snake sitting in there waiting for us. When you've got a little fort with a door that you have to squeeze yourself into, it really sucks trying to get 3 people out of it at the same time when you run into a snake. So you can imagine how that went. And we probably never made a hay fort after that. Not a lot of you guys know, but I went to college for architecture, so kind of explains why I loved building forts when I was little. If you ask my sisters about the whole experience, they would tell you it was a miserable experience just because I was always the one who designed the forts and they were the ones who carried out the labor. And if things were too heavy, I'd help out sometimes. But for the most part, they were the ones that I was like, go get that stick, go get those leaves, we're building a fort over here, push that rock over there. So I did my part and they did their part, but for the most part we had a lot of fun. I remember building dams and stuff like that in the creek, trying to block up the water so that we would have a little swimming hole in the summertime. That was definitely a great experience for me, except for this one time my sister was trying to throw a rock over my head and it was actually too heavy and it ended up landing right on my head. I remember blacking out for a little bit and waking up to them freaking out thinking that I had died. Another thing that we did as siblings when we were little was every holiday we would actually put on a little show for our family. We would tack up sheets to the ceiling and that would be our changing room behind the sheets, and we would have about 6 different costumes. And looking back on it now, at all the recordings that our family did of us, we made our family sit through at least 45 minutes of us pretty much just lip singing to our favorite songs. Our family seemed to love it, but our cousins definitely were getting bored 3 songs into our concert. I don't know how my family managed to sit through that many shows. I feel like if I had kids that did that to me, I would probably start to dread Christmas time just because of the long shows. So, I mean, growing up in the country was a pretty great experience for me, just because I got to enjoy the outdoors and I definitely had my space to get away from things when I needed time and space to think about life and all of that. A lot of people, when they hear that I grew up on a farm, wonder why I don't have a country accent. The truth is, I try really hard not to have an accent because my grandmother always told me that people with accents sounded very uneducated and that I wouldn't get a job if I did have a country accent. Sometimes it slips out when I get really tired or drunk. My friends actually made fun of me when I lived in Florida because my accent was a lot stronger when I got drunk, and it was a lot noticeable down there because people didn't have the accents like they do here in Virginia. So, I mean, I try to hide it, but my friends have definitely seen it come out. So when I was 13 years old, my parents actually ended up getting a divorce, and my sisters and I ended up moving with our mom for a little bit before my sisters ended up moving back in with my dad, and I ended up staying with my mom. I think that might be one of the reasons that I'm a little bit closer with my mom than I am with my dad, just because I did live with her for several years without my sisters, and her and I just became a lot closer over those years, and we kind of looked out for each other. Being the single mom is definitely not easy, and I definitely give my mom mad props for being able to take care of me and all the craziness I put her through as a kid. I know some of the things that we ended up doing were pretty crazy and could have gotten us killed, and I'm pretty sure it probably drove our mom crazy. Some of the things that we did, we ended up pulling out some of the rubber barrels that were in the barns on our farm, and we climbed to the very top of this hill and climbed inside of the barrel with a bunch of pillows and pushed each other down. We actually had some people standing at the bottom of the hill to stop the barrels from moving, and we actually rolled right over top of them and busted through the fence and the barn wall, which was really frowned upon by my grandfather when he found out that had happened. Another thing we did was we took the cow troughs that they used to feed the baby cows, and we brought that to the top of the hill too, which actually had lots of trees, and we only made it down the hill once successfully without hitting a tree. And looking back now, I'm so lucky that I'm not dead, just because there were so many times that we hit trees and we'd go flying out. There was this one time my sister had skid marks from mud in her hair. I ended up wrapped around a tree, and my other sister was still in the trough, like screaming as if she had just seen a murder or something. Another thing we used to do, which our mom probably doesn't like us for, we used to put baby oil down on the wooden floors, and we would slide around like we had our own skating rink. And this one time we were getting a little bit loud, and it was too late at night for us to be that loud, and we kind of made our mother upset, and she came upstairs stomping really upset. So we took off running into the bathroom, and she didn't know that we put the baby oil there, and she definitely fell right on her face on the floor. It was really hard not to laugh, but she was extremely pissed off. I definitely had a pretty good childhood. My sisters were probably my closest friends. At that time, I hadn't really learned how to make really good friends at school, so they were just kids at school, and I'd come right home and play with my sister. I did have a really close friend. Her name was Samantha. She goes by Sam now, but she moved up to New York, so I haven't seen her in a really long time. But I hope I get to see her soon. But I think I'm rambling on a little bit too much. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.